I'm Gary C. Johnson. You've seen these billboards and ads that say size matters. I agree. The size that matters is the size of the results the law firm gets for their clients. We have several multi-million-dollar verdicts here in Kentucky. In fact, our firm owns the record for the single largest personal injury verdict in the state of Kentucky. That's the size that matters to you. In Kentucky, give our firm the call.
If you're hurt, injured, don't waste time. Gary Johnson drives for every dime.
Welcome to Simply the Law of Life, a program created by attorney Gary C. Johnson. Simply the Law of Life provides free legal advice and encourages happiness and quality of life. Now, here's Simply the Law of Life with Gary C. Johnson and Keith Casebolt.
Hello, everyone. Welcome into the radio program, Simply the Law of Life. I'm Keith Casebolt, and my dear friend across from me, Gary C. Johnson. Hello.
Hello, my good friend. What a wonderful world it is.
Yes.
For those of us that are out here able to breathe and make it and get by. It's a sad world in other ways for people that's lost loved ones or whatever. However, for those of you that are alive and listening to this program, it is a wonderful world.
Gary, the older I get, the more that you have got it planted into my mind, this reverence for life. And I try to start that every day, just being thankful that there is another day. And today, as you've told me quite often, is all we've got.
And let's make the most of today, my friend.
Please, if possible.
I want to point out to my friends out there that been a lot of traveling lately, and people travel down through Georgia and North Carolina, South Carolina. And I started looking, and we're getting calls from people that have been in wrecks in those areas. And so those of you that are traveling, if you've been in a wreck in those areas, we actually have an office in Hilton Head and an attorney that's licensed in Georgia, North Carolina, and South Carolina.
One of the most, I think, just personally, dangerous highways that you'll ever be on is 26 going into Columbia, coming out of 26 onto 95, going into Savannah. Gary, there's 3 lanes, 4 lanes, 5 lanes, and people they're going above the speed limit. It really is not a safe road.
No. Well, there's no such thing as a safe road anymore, anywhere, in my opinion.
No.
And that's why you have so many wrecks. You never know when some idiot's going to run over you. I just wanted to point out to my friends that may be listening to this that may have a friend or a family member, even themselves, that's had an accident down in that area.
Well, and I'm glad you did that, because how unsettling is that? Here you are on your way to vacation, maybe going to the beach, and all of a sudden someone runs over you. You're injured, your vehicle's tore all to pieces, and who are you going to call? You're 2 or 3 states away from home. It's good to know that you have someone there that can help people.
Well, there was this attorney that used to work for me in Lexington years ago, and then he moved to Hilton Head. Brilliant attorney. So instead of saying, well, why don't you just go find you a job down there, I said, well, just continue to work for us.
Absolutely. Well, I would imagine, how many people would you think from the state of Kentucky would travel that road on a yearly basis? Millions?
Bunch. Well, I doubt if it'd be millions, but it's a lot of people. It's, in the last couple of months, we've had maybe 3 calls where people have been injured down in those areas.
Yeah.
And then I got to thinking about it, and they just did it not knowing we had someone there. So
Sure. And I will bet you that anyone that's listening to this program has never traveled that road that you weren't held up in an accident.
that's probably true.
I mean, as you were talking, I was just sitting here thinking about it, and I can't think of a time that we have gone to Florida that there hasn't been an accident somewhere around Spartanburg, Columbia, or going into Savannah, Georgia.
And a lot of times it's people from this area. And that's the tragedy of it.
Well, at no fault of their own, though. I mean, because the traffic, the biggest problem on that, and I think you'll agree, the traffic gets up to 70, 75, and then all of a sudden the traffic comes to a stop. And people that are not paying attention, if they're on their cell phone or whatever they're doing, it's too late for them to apply the brakes, and that's where you get the pileup.
That's right. One right after the other.
Seen it time and time again.
Well, anyhow, what are we going to talk about today, my friend?
Well, with the state of the world, I heard it over the weekend. Worry. It seems to be the hot topic right now. We worry about the economy. We worry about the gas prices. We worry about the war in Ukraine. We worry about the horrific incident that took place in our own backyard here in eastern Kentucky. A lot of people, Gary, are worried about the state of our country, the state of everything that's going on around us.
None of which they can do anything about.
Unfortunately, that's the truth.
And what I'm trying to talk my friends into doing is to stop worrying about those things that they can't do anything about. And if you do stop worrying about the things you can't do anything about, then you can be productive and you can function and you can accomplish things and you can enjoy life. There's just all kinds of wonderful things out there if you'll just not worry about things you can't control or change.
Well, and you started out the year talking about being successful, and you put on that you can't be successful if you're not happy. So for those individuals that thought, okay, I'm going to put another zero on the bank book, you're saying to us, that's not going to do it. I want you to be successful, but what use is it if you're not happy?
Once you're happy, you're successful. And I promise you, once you're happy, you will become successful financially also.
The two go together?
They go together. They're handed. You can get filthy rich and be miserable.
We've seen that.
I've seen people do that. But if you're happy, you learn to enjoy and appreciate what you have. And the richness is your family and all the things around you.
Yeah.
The richness isn't the zeros on a piece of paper.
You and I we talked about it when the guy on television, Anthony Bourdain, because you and I both like to eat a little bit, and we were like, what a great, this is the show that you and I should have had. You get to travel the world, you get to meet different cultures, you get to try different food, and you're on television, and you're getting paid for it. And you and I were sitting here going, this guy has to be one of the happiest people on earth. He ended up taking his life because he wasn't happy, and we didn't see that coming.
You sure he did?
Well, that's a good question. At least we were told, right?
We were told he did, okay?
Yeah. Never assume.
Never assume anything in this world anymore.
But the whole point was you can look on the outside to an individual and say, oh, if I just had their money, if I just had their job, if I just had their house. And what you're trying to tell us is find somebody that is smiling all the time, that has a reverence for life, and is a happy individual, and that's the person you need to say, I want what they got.
Well, let's take Elon Musk as an example. Does anybody anywhere think he's happy?
Well, didn't he actually come out and say that the last year of his life had been the most miserable ever?
Richest man in the world.
And that he was dealing with depression?
Sold all of his homes.
Yeah.
Living in a little thing. No, folks, my friends, just because you might not have some money does not mean that you can't be happy. And just because you have some money, more likely than not, will not make you happy.
You think about all the artists who made it big, the musical artists. They always talk about when they were living hand to mouth and they were working as a waiter or a waitress and everything they owned was in the back seat of their car and they were crashing on their friend's couch. But they talk about those times and how happy they were, even though they were struggling. they were happy.
They had hope.
They had hope, yeah.
Once you get there, where's the hope?
Yeah, I got a chance to watch the new Elvis movie that's out. Prime example. In the beginning, he was the happiest person on earth. In the end, he was probably one of the most miserable people on earth.
No question.
It was really sad walking out of the theater looking at what had happened to his life because of the success. So when you say you cannot be successful if you're not happy, you're telling the truth.
It's not. You can't.
It's impossible.
If you define success properly.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you can be rich and not be happy,
That's right. That's right.
but you can't be successful and not be happy.
No matter how many zeros.
So, my friends, you are listening to this program and you are successful, right? And you're not going to worry. Napoleon Hill wrote some stuff on worry years ago. Brilliant man. Think and How to Grow Rich. Is that
That's the book.
the book? Keith, why don't you read us a little bit about what he said about worry?
I think this first chapter is something that we're going to have fun with. Here's what Napoleon Hill had to say. Worry is a state of mind based upon fear. Now, I had never put those two together, but I get that. So worry is a state of mind based upon fear. It works slowly, but it works persistently. It is insidious and subtle. Step by step, it digs itself in until it paralyzes one's reasoning and faculty. So, first of all, let's talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
It is prolonged. It works on you and works on you until it overtakes your reasoning.
And it makes you absolutely, totally miserable. Especially if you're worrying about stuff you can't change or do anything about.
Napoleon goes on to say, worry is a form of sustained fear caused by indecision. Therefore, it is a state of mind which can be controlled. Now, is that the good news? Because he's saying that it is all a reflection or the cause of the fact that there's indecision. You've always said on this program, Gary, when in doubt, go forward. You didn't say forward was right. You didn't say forward was wrong. You just said, when in doubt, go forward.
I mean, why not?
At least you made a decision, right?
That's right. That's the key to it. You have to make a decision. You make a decision to not worry about stuff that you can't control.
And
that is a decision.
And you make the decision saying, okay, if it doesn't work, it didn't work. At least I made the decision. I'm not sitting here spinning my wheels in fear, afraid to make a decision.
Fear is insidious.
Here's what he goes on to say after saying that it can be controlled. An unsettled mind is helpless. Indecision makes an unsettled mind. Most individuals, lack the willpower to reach a decision promptly and to stand by it after they've made it. Now, that's a little bit amazing because I'm sure the people listening to this program are going, hey, I can make a decision. I can make a decision anytime I want to. Think about it really hard and quick.
It's not that easy.
No, because in this day and time, we want to research, rightfully so. We want to ask our friends. We want to ask our neighbors, family members. And then the more information we get,
the more indecisive we get, trust me.
Well, we call it death by committee.
Yes, absolutely.
So you get about 10 or 12 people, back to the old man, the kid, and the donkey. Everybody had an idea on it, and that comes in.
Give us as an example, Keith, trying to figure out what to put on a billboard.
Well, listen, it's a lot to think about. And then when you hear a different idea, you start thinking, hey, maybe that's right.
And you have a wonderful idea of what want to be perfect, and then you run it by somebody and say, boy, that doesn't make any sense.
And you were just, as you came in, you said, you know what, I just need to put up, I'm a personal injury attorney, Gary C. Johnson. That tells the whole story, isn't it?
Nobody will like it if we run it by them, trust me.
Well, let's see what else Napoleon has to say. During periods of economic unrest, such as the world is experiencing right now he wrote this
And right after the Depression.
But here we are. We've got economic unrest again, so it applies. But during this time period, the individual is handicapped, not alone by his inherent nature to be slow at reaching decisions, but he is influenced by the indecision of others around him who have created a state of mass indecision.
Amazing, isn't it?
So now let's think about our lives. The building is on fire. Are we going to take a committee or the one guy that jumps up and says, I know the way out of here? That's the cat I'm going to follow.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty simple to make a decision in that.
Wouldn't you hate to be president
Of the United States?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
You couldn't give me that job. There's no way. Because you have so many different things pulling at you,
Yes.
asking for a decision. And then if you make a decision, 50% of the people are going to say you're wrong
Automatically. And the other 50 are probably going to be split and not happy.
And no matter what happens, you get the blame for it as though you were the one that did it when you probably didn't even know anything about it. I mean, it's incredible.
Isn't that the truth? I mean, right now, if you were to be President of the United States, I've known you a long time. I know with certainty that your heart would be in the right place, that you would want to do everything you could to help everyone in this country, and that you would want to make every decision that was in the favor of the people, and yet going in, 50% of the public's going to hate you.
I probably have about a 25% approval rating.
For trying to do the right thing.
Because you do the job and you do it right, you're probably not going to have much of an approval rating.
Well, no, because as you and I know, I keep, looking for these miracles to lose weight, and you keep coming back and saying, eat less and exercise more. None of us really want the truth, do we?
We want a quick fix.
Yes.
And we pretty well, in this country anymore, demand a quick fix. Let's look at the country for a second. And I'm not saying let's worry about it. Let's be positive and go forward in this world the way it is. But we have regressed, and it could be good, it could be bad, time will tell, from being patriots.
Mm-hmm.
We are not a patriotic country anymore, in my opinion. I mean,
because of the indecision and split.
I don't know what it is. I think it's one of the things is when they have school anymore, does each classroom start off with I pledge allegiance to the flag?
No.
It did when I was a child.
Did. Also probably opened up with a prayer.
Yeah.
Probably sang a song too, didn't you?
Always say, yes. Roll, roll, roll your boat. Other countries, especially Russia, teach their kids to love the motherland from the time they're toddlers.
Right.
How do you compete with that in the world when your children don't recognize how important it is for this country to be preserved, and the traditions of our country, the things we believe in, to be preserved?
Well, it's a great point. We just came through the 4th of July holiday. we would not be having a 4th of July if there hadn't have been millions of people that laid their lives down so that you could be free to say, think, and believe any way that you want to. But shouldn't there be some reverence for the country and the people that laid their life down so that you have that freedom?
Well, I have it, and I'm hoping my friends that are listening to this, that you have it. I hope you don't say it's gone too far, that it can't be saved because you're wrong. It's still the best, most wonderful country in the world. We can still make it that, and it can still be that. We just need to start saying I pledge allegiance to the flag a little more often, in my opinion.
Hey, I wish you'd seen me over the weekend on the golf course. My golf bag is red, white, and blue. My umbrella is red, white, and blue. I had on my red, white, and blue outfit with my shoes and my golf gloves. So it was all a thank you that we're here and that we can live in this world. And to make it the best country in the world, I think, Gary, tell me if I'm wrong, you just got to be the best you can be here.
You do the best you can do, my friends, and if you're happy, if you don't go around being miserable, if you smile a lot, and you have a reverence for life, the rest of it will take care of itself.
Hey, listen to what Napoleon Hill says. There is an antidote to indecision. You're going to like this, Gary. There is an antidote, only one known in the world, for this germ of indecision. It's the habit of making a prompt and firm decision. Moreover, it is an antidote which every individual should and must apply to themselves. He's saying, whatever it is that you're worried about, whatever it is that you're fearful about, make a decision, one way or the other.
Whatever it is you're trying to decide to do, if you're in a situation and you're saying, well, I need to get out of this, I want to get out of it, make a decision. Either make a decision to stay or make a decision to leave. But quit being indecisive.
And stick with it. He says we will not worry over the conditions once we have reached a decision to follow a definite line of action. In other words, we're free from fear once we say, I'm going forward.
And be happy.
Yeah, and you will be. Whatever comes your way, there'll be obstacles. There's going to be things that you thought might pop up, and guess what? They will.
Right.
But at least you're on the path, right?
You're headed in the direction you need to be, which is to be happy, which will then lead to your success.
That whole thing comes together. You're never going to be happy until you get rid of the worry and the fear.
And the indecision.
And the indecision. He goes so far to give this analogy. I'm not sure that I understand this one, but this is what Napoleon said. He once interviewed a man who was to be electrocuted in 2 hours. The condemned man was the calmest of some of 8 men who were in the death cell with him. His calmness prompted me to ask how it felt to know that he was going into eternity in just a short while. With a smile of confidence on his face, he said, "It feels fine. Just think, my brother, my troubles will all soon be over. I've had nothing but trouble all of my life. It's been a hardship for me to get food, to get clothing, and to live. But soon I will have passed all of this and all of these things. Once I learned for certain that I must die, I made up my mind then to accept my fate in good spirit." Napoleon says, why are we not taking this individual's attitude? We know this is the only trip that we're going to make through this little world, right?
Right.
So if we know that, why aren't we content on being as happy as we can be and enjoying every moment of it?
Because we're not certain we're going to die.
Okay, you blew that analogy all to hell, yeah.
No, I'm serious. You want to know why?
Yeah, but
It's the truth.
we're just thinking it's not going to happen
That's
to me.
right.
Yeah, it's not. That's why people don't prepare a will. That's why they don't buy life insurance.
That's why my friends are not squeezing every second and making the most of it. Because secretly deep down deep, we have no concept that it's ever going to end.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's someday.
Someday.
It's going to someday, but, probably 30 or 40 years down the road. It's not going to end soon. His final thought on this, on worry, is acquit yourself of the fear of ill health and worry by the decision to forget the symptoms. Master the fear of loss of love by reaching the decision to get along without it, if that is necessary. If not, embrace it and move forward.
That's right.
I mean, that's pretty common sense from Napoleon, isn't it?
Well, that's how he got rich. He was smart.
Yes, he was, except for that one part about thinking it's going to happen to all of us. You straightened him out on that. The main thing, Gary, as you started the beginning of this year about being successful, you come back to the fact you can't be successful if you're not happy. If you're listening to this program today, you're alive. You're probably in your vehicle, which is great that you've got a vehicle. You've got your radio turned on, or you're listening on your computer. But you're here. Enjoy it.
Life.
It is precious, isn't it?
Amen.
My friend, thank you so much for being here. If you'd like to get in touch with Gary, we figured it out on that billboard. He's a personal injury attorney. You can contact him, Gary, at GaryCJohnson.com. Remember the tip he gave you at the beginning. It's summer vacation. If you're traveling, you're going to Myrtle Beach, you're going to Florida, more than likely you're going to be down around Georgia, South Carolina. Gary does have an office there. Should anything come up that you need his help, please contact him there also. You can also catch our television show on the Fox affiliate in Central Kentucky on Lexington, starting your Monday at 6:30 a.m. and starting your weekend on Friday at 6:30 a.m. My friend, I think we've had a good time, and we learned a little bit.
We've enjoyed the moment.
Indeed we have. On behalf of Gary C. Johnson, I'm Keith Casebolt. Thank you so much for taking this time to tune in. As always, Gary and I look forward to seeing you again next week, right here at this same time.
Thank you for listening to Simply the Law of Life, a program created by attorney Gary C. Johnson. Until next week, may you be safe, blessed, and happy.
If you're hurt, injured, don't waste time. Gary Johnson cries for every dime.
I'm Gary C. Johnson. You've seen these billboards and ads that say size matters. I agree. The size that matters is the size of the results the law firm gets for their clients. We have several multi-million-dollar verdicts here in Kentucky. In fact, our firm owns the record for the single largest personal injury verdict in the state of Kentucky. That's the size that matters to you. In Kentucky, give our firm the call.